Hey everybody, Pinkville here. In this video I'm going to attempt to teach you how to play Nobushi. Quick disclaimer though, I'm not a professional For Honor player. I just play for fun, but I've had a lot of experience with this hero, so I thought I might as well share it with you guys. Now, Nobushi is a really interesting hero, although compared to other heroes in this game, it's really hard to play Nobushi properly, let alone master it. Why, you may ask? Well, here are a few reasons. Nobushi is a hero that relies heavily on staggers. To be honest, every hero in this game relies on staggers, but Nobushi excels at performing huge combos while her enemies are staggered, because that's the only way she can inflict damage. Well, if we're talking about substantial damage, that is. Nobushi's animations are pretty slow. However, there are a few really quick ones, which we're going to talk about later. Because Nobushi's animations are pretty slow, it makes her extremely vulnerable to heroes that strike quickly. So, Arachi, Peacekeeper, and Valkyrie, and this chick are going to be your worst nightmares, as well as any other heroes that spam quick strikes, like Warden, for example, with his AoE attack or whatever. You get the idea here. Nobushi is also really vulnerable to staggers herself, well, like any other hero in this game, and I hope that's pretty clear why. So you have to be extremely cautious and keep your eyes on the enemy all the time when playing Nobushi. The last, and in my opinion the most important reason, is that Nobushi is really easy to counter. Her main ability that enables her to inflict large amounts of damage is the kick, and all your opponent has to do in order to evade that kick is to press spacebar. Seriously, it's really hard to pull that kick off on players that know how Nobushi works. For example, when I play against a Nobushi, I know that if my opponent hits me and kicks me afterwards, he will most certainly do it again, if he hits me, of course. Unless he's using some serious mind game tactics. So after each successful attack of my opponent, I will be smashing that motherfucking spacebar button in hopes of dodging. I think that's it here. There are surely more reasons to why Nobushi is a difficult character to play, but the ones I mentioned seem like the most essential ones to me. Alright, all I've said so far sounds cool and all, but let's see Nobushi in action. Like any other hero, Nobushi has a powerful attack and a regular attack. I won't go over them in detail, but I will say that they are pretty slow and you should be using them as rarely as possible, mainly to be unpredictable after performing a few common combos. My favorite part about Nobushi is her dodge hit attack. It's quick and effective, I use it all the time. All you have to do in order to perform it is to dodge in some direction and press left mouse button. Your dodge direction will determine the direction of your hit. For example, if you dodge to the left and then press LMB, this will result in you hitting your opponent from the left. Dodge to the right and do the same thing and you will hit your opponent from the right, and so on. It also causes bleeding, which is really good because Nobushi inflicts more damage on enemies that bleed. This dodge attack is really good after you've parried your opponent's attack. Because he's going to be staggered for a little bit, he's going to have really small chances of blocking it because it's pretty quick and the animation on it is quite confusing. You can also use it right after you kick your opponent. Again, he's going to have really small chances of blocking it because he's going to be staggered. And yeah, the kick. The most useful part about Nobushi. As I've said, it enables you to perform huge combos on your opponents, but it's pretty easy to dodge from. You can easily spam it if you want, but an experienced player will punish you for that. So I would suggest using it after you've hit your enemy. You can hit him with a regular attack or a powerful attack. It doesn't really matter, as long as it's not a special attack, you'll still be able to press MMB and execute the kick. And you can also perform a kick from a stealth stance by, again, pressing MMB. The stealth stance can be activated by pressing and holding C on your keyboard. As long as you're holding that key, you will be in stealth stance. What this does is it basically does not show your enemy from where you're gonna strike. Now, it doesn't mean that your enemy will not see a red blinking marker at all, it just means that the appearance of that marker will be ever so slightly delayed. It's not OP, because Nobushi's animations are pretty slow anyway, it's just a cool thing you can do to confuse your enemies sometimes. The interesting thing about the stealth stance though is that it skips an attack from any combos you can perform. Sounds confusing, but in a nutshell, all it does is it allows you to perform any combo without having to execute its first step. Still sounds confusing, doesn't it? Let me show you then. So, if I would want to perform this combo, I would need to attack my opponent 3 times without missing or having a single attack of mine blocked. With stealth stance, however, look what happens. This is really powerful, but can be easily blocked. Although animations are pretty confusing, especially if you change the direction of your future strike while the animation of the previous strike is still going, I would not suggest spamming this at all. You can also evade attacks with stealth stance. It's pretty hard at first, but when you get used to it, it's easy. Just press C when the red marker is blinking. I would not recommend dodging with stealth stance too often, because some attacks in this game are simply faster than the animation of your hero going into stealth stance, and it's pretty unreliable in general. I, to be honest, only use it to show off sometimes, or an accident. Keep in mind that Nobushi cannot parry or block incoming attacks while in stealth stance, she can only dodge them by pressing spacebar. You can also confuse your enemies by pressing C mid-animation of your regular or powerful attack. Doing so will result in you entering stealth stance. So, perform different combinations of attacks, be unpredictable, that's the best way to play Nobushi. If you go back and simultaneously press LMB, you will perform this attack. In my case, I'm holding S and pressing LMB. It's okay, I guess, but I don't use it that often because the animation's really slow and it doesn't do too much damage. If you press spacebar after blocking an incoming attack, your hero will bounce back a little, giving you enough room to fall back, I guess. I never use this ability because I play really aggressively, but I think as a defensive Nobushi, this could work somehow. Now, let's get to the tactics of playing Nobushi. Nobushi's animations are pretty confusing on their own, and being unpredictable helps even when you're playing against a really experienced player. If you're playing against a slightly lower tier players though, I think you can easily get away with just spamming the shit out of that kick. Don't forget to use the stealth stance and seriously use it to your advantage. For example, skipping an attack from a triple regular attack combo is awesome because the third attack cannot be blocked and has virtually no animations whatsoever. So if you hit your enemy once from a stealth stance, he has no chances of blocking the second one, and you will cause bleeding. I think that's all I've got, but feel free to improvise. Nobushi is a really versatile hero and can take on any opponent, if handled properly, of course. So, I hope you've learned something new from this video. I'll see you around.